It's 3 a.m. The room is almost completely silent, and your dog, once again, is lying right next to you. Maybe it's pressed against your legs. Maybe it's taking up half the bed, or curled up beside you, as if that's the most natural place in the world. What's interesting is, your dog has other places to sleep. A soft dog bed, a comfortable couch, a quiet corner of the house. And yet, night after night, it chooses you. Most people assume they know why. It's probably because I'm warm. And honestly, that sounds reasonable. Humans are warm. Beds are comfortable. Sleeping together feels cozy. But dog science suggests something much deeper. Because for animals, sleep is one of the most vulnerable states imaginable. When a dog falls asleep, its awareness decreases. Its reactions become slower. Its ability to respond to danger is reduced. In the wild, sleeping is often the riskiest part of the day. That's why animals instinctively search for places where they feel safe enough to truly rest. And that's what makes this behavior so fascinating. Because among all the safe places in your home, your dog still chooses to sleep next to you. Not beside the wall, not in the quietest room, not in the most comfortable corner, but beside a human, beside you. And that often means much more than simply enjoying your company. It may be one of the strongest signs of trust a dog can give, almost as if its brain is saying, "Here, I feel safe. Here, I can truly relax. Here, I can sleep." And perhaps that's one of the most beautiful things about dogs, because they don't just live beside us. Sometimes, they genuinely see us as the safest place in their world. And what makes this even more fascinating is that science actually supports it. Researchers studying attachment in dogs have discovered something remarkable. Dogs form emotional bonds with their owners that are surprisingly similar to the attachment young children form with their parents. When dogs feel uncertain, they seek closeness. When they feel stressed, they seek reassurance. And when they sleep, they often prefer being near the person they trust most. Because sleep isn't just rest, it's vulnerability. It's the moment when an animal lets its guard down. And your dog is choosing to experience that vulnerability beside you. Think about that for a moment. Out of everyone in the world, out of every place available, your dog chooses your presence. Not because it has to, but because it wants to. And perhaps that's why so many dogs quietly climb onto the bed at night, or settle against their owner's legs, or sleep so close that there's barely any space left. They're not simply searching for comfort, they're searching for security. A feeling that somewhere deep inside, only you provide. And perhaps that's why so many dog owners feel something special when they wake up and find their dog sleeping beside them. Because whether they realize it or not, they've been trusted with something incredibly precious: the feeling of safety. And this connection goes even deeper than most people realize. Because when dogs are close to the people they love, their brains actually change. One famous study from Japan discovered something extraordinary. When a dog looks into its owner's eyes, and the owner looks back, both experience an increase in oxytocin. Oxytocin is often called the bonding hormone. It's associated with trust, emotional connection, love, and feelings of security. It's the same chemical involved in the bond between parents and children. What amazed researchers was that this response occurred between two completely different species, humans and dogs, almost as if thousands of years of living together had changed both of us. Over time, dogs didn't just learn to live with humans. They learned to bond with us emotionally, and physical closeness appears to strengthen that bond even more. That's why many dogs don't just sleep near their owners. They sleep against them, touching a foot, leaning against a leg, resting a head on an arm. or pressing their backs gently against their owner while sleeping. To us, it may seem adorable, but to the dog, it may actually feel calming, reassuring, comforting. Studies have even shown that spending time petting a dog can reduce cortisol levels. Cortisol is the hormone most closely associated with stress. And what's fascinating is this effect occurs in both dogs and humans. So imagine what happens when two beings spend an entire night resting beside one another. One feels safer, the other feels calmer. Both benefit from the connection. And perhaps that's why so many dogs choose their owners over every other sleeping spot in the house. Not because it's warmer, not because it's softer, but because it feels emotionally right. Because somewhere deep inside, their brain associates your presence with safety. And honestly, that's a beautiful thing. In a world where so many people struggle to feel understood, there is a creature that feels more relaxed simply because you're nearby. A creature that trusts you enough to sleep deeply beside you. If your dog always sleeps next to you, leave a 1 in the comments below. Because what scientists discovered next may be even more surprising. Modern research suggests that when dogs spend time resting near their owners, it's not only emotions that change. Their nervous systems may begin responding to each other as well. Some studies examining heart rate and stress responses have found something fascinating. When owners feel calm, their dogs often become calmer too. When owners become anxious, dogs frequently show signs of increased stress, almost as if both nervous systems are quietly influencing one another. And this effect appears strongest during periods of rest, especially during sleep, which means that when your dog curls up beside you at night, it may not simply be resting near you. Its body may actually be responding to your presence, to your breathing, to your movements, to the feeling of being close to someone it trusts. Perhaps that's why some dogs only seem able to sleep deeply when they're near their favorite person. Because, to their brain, that person represents safety. Everything is okay. Nothing dangerous is happening. The world can wait until morning. And honestly, there's something incredibly moving about that. Because we often think we're the ones taking care of our dogs. But sometimes, they're quietly helping us too. Many people say they sleep better when their dog is nearby, even when the dog steals the blanket, even when it pushes them toward the edge of the bed, even when it occasionally wakes them up. Somehow, they still feel more comfortable, more relaxed, less alone. And science suggests that feeling may be very real, because being close to someone your brain considers safe can help your nervous system relax. Maybe that's why after a difficult day, simply having your dog lie beside you can feel comforting. No words, no solutions, no advice, just presence, a warm body nearby, a quiet breath in the darkness, a companion who trusts you enough to fall asleep beside you. And perhaps that's what makes the bond between dogs and humans so special. Two completely different species helping each other feel safer, simply by being there. But there is one thing every dog owner should know, and it might be the most important part of this entire conversation. Because sometimes, the meaning isn't in the fact that your dog sleeps next to you. It's when that behavior suddenly changes. Dogs are creatures of habit. They thrive on routines. And when a behavior repeats itself for months or years, then suddenly disappears, there is usually a reason. That's why if your dog has always slept beside you, but suddenly starts sleeping somewhere else, you shouldn't automatically ignore it. Sometimes it means nothing, but sometimes it can be one of the earliest signs that something isn't right. Many health problems first appear as changes in behavior, before obvious symptoms, before limping, before visible pain. A dog may simply stop climbing onto the bed, stop sleeping close, or begin choosing different sleeping locations. And sadly, many owners only recognize those changes after a problem becomes more serious. Because dogs cannot tell us, "I'm hurting, I don't feel well, something is wrong." So they communicate through behavior instead. And that's why understanding your dog's habits matters. Not just because it's interesting, but because it helps you notice when something changes. It helps you pay attention. It helps you care for them better. And perhaps that's one of the greatest gifts we can give a creature that trusts us so completely. To notice, to listen, to pay attention. Because after all the research on hormones, attachment, behavior, and neuroscience, the most beautiful truth may actually be very simple. Your dog just wants to be near you. Not because you're perfect, not because you're successful, not because you always have the answers, but because you're you. In the world of dogs, presence matters more than words. They don't need long conversations. They don't need grand gestures. Sometimes, the thing that makes a dog happiest is simply being close to the person it loves. That's why they follow you from room to room, wait outside the bathroom door, lie beside your feet while you work, and find their way back to you every night, as if being near you has become their favorite place in the world. And maybe that's why so many people say the thing they miss most after losing a dog isn't the barking, it's not the toys, it's not the walks. It's the feeling of having someone beside them every night. The quiet breathing, the warm presence, the silent companionship, the simple comfort of knowing they weren't alone. Because sometimes the deepest forms of love are also the quietest. So if your dog climbs onto the bed tonight or curls up beside you like it always does, take a moment to appreciate it. Because perhaps your dog is saying something without words. Something simple, something beautiful, something that sounds like, "Next to you is where I feel safest." And maybe that's one of the greatest compliments a dog can ever give. So tell me, where does your dog sleep every night? I'd love to hear your story in the comments below.